So I see in the event log cup coral scleractinia. Is that what you're talking about, the little yellow guy? Can we go back and zoom on that for a minute?
That is max zoom. I think it would, if we could move up on it, could make some good imagery along with that little blue white thing crawling above it.
Come on out, Roland.
I think I see some polka dots on that yellow thing. Sorry, those are engineering descriptive terms.
Come on in.
So Tina is suggesting Dendrophilidae, which is a family of scleractinian corals. Those are the stony corals, but there's only one polyp here, so we would suggest that this is a very young coral. Corals have larvae that are, they swim through the water column cilia, they will settle, and then they will begin to metamorphose and grow into the larger colonies that we're seeing. So this would be a very young one, still only one polyp. Essentially, it would bud off a new polyp, continue to produce skeleton, and grow into something bigger like the colonies we've seen. Or actually, we haven't seen any Dendrophilidae today, but it would grow into a coral colony.
Doesn't sound like there's any interest.
Come on out.
Another tiny pagurid as well, right there.
Probably time for another ship move.
Yeah, we got currents. Huh? Died down a little bit. We were having pretty bad off our stern quarter.
What are you talking about, Nav?
Currents on the ship.
Did the ship call?
No, the ship's fine. It's in position.
Okay, so what about the currents?
They're kind of on our stern quarter right now.
Okay.
Soft coral lasers, right?
Ready for ship move?
Of the ship. Yeah, you ready for ship move?
Yeah.
Okay. Bridge RV now. Ready for another ship move. 30 meters, bearing 240 degrees, 0.2 knots.
Speaking up a little bit.
Good copy.
There's a Neo at the top of the screen. Maybe, or an edge of that rock.
Don't go puppying off there.
Come in on this, Roland.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of these look like great rock candidates, do they? But look at all those shells. What are we looking at? What little white thing?
Pan left,
Please.
please.
Come on out a little bit, Roland.
You want me to follow you?
Okay,
or
so that little white
get ahead of-
gelatinous thing in the
Okay.
center, directly
Come on
above your lasers.
Just stay
Yeah,
where
it's
you are,
like-
Roland. I mean,
What?
Brian.
Yep.
Oh, what is that?
And it's moving.
You got green detritus in front
What
of
is
the white
it?
thing.
Oh no, it's just a shell. Forget it. It's just a
Before you
4-arm
zoom
shell,
out,
the
if
top
you
of it,
can, tilt
Come on
down
out.
just
and there was some algae moving in front of it. Okay, so I'm starting to see things that are alive that are not.
Nav, this is Watch Lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
So what time will we be coming off bottom today?
4 o'clock.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Actually, can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
How far along this contour have we gone?
I can tell you in just a minute.
Great.
Like 385 meters.
Wow, just along
Wow.
this part of the track?
This contour,
that's
yeah.
A long
Wow.
way.
So for those of you who are following along, or for the shore-based scientists, if you look at stream 3,
So now
they've got
we're
a full
recovering a
view
little bit
of
early
the
today.
high pack bathymetry right now, and you can see that we've actually gone like over 350 meters along this contour. So we really have gotten a lot in on this dive today.
Nav, are we supposed to be recovering a little bit early?
Yeah, just to account for.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm absolutely
Getting the shipping
delighted,
position,
and
I think 4
I
o'clock
think
is,
the
when
bottom
we start
fish
pulling up.
guys and the NOAA guys are delighted as well. This is better than I could have ever hoped for this dive.
Chris, I'm really glad to hear you say that. It's nice that we're able to help NOAA accomplish its missions. And so that's one of the things that we're out here for. So it's really great to hear that this has been a successful dive for you.
Yeah, I think they got some really valuable information. We have bottom fish. We documented multiple individuals of different bottom fish species, and then we're getting a lot of the benthic fauna in their habitat, as well as some of the fish species in their habitat. So this is actually terrific. This is what they wanted.
Great. Glad to hear it.
Come in tight.
Did you guys all see that anemone that was all squeezed up? Oh, what's that little red thing that just went off the screen? The thing that looks like a mushroom? Anyone? Shore-based scientists? What's the thing that looks like a mushroom?
Is it a baby?
That is
anthemasters?
an octocoral, I believe, and I wonder if this is what Asaka was saying, the nidalids. I think that might be one. We'll check that out for you and give you a note in the event log. But
Awesome.
It's an octocoral that has its polyps
That's excellent.
retracted.
Very cool. Thank you.
So this has been something like an anthomastus, Scott?
Yeah, it could be, Chris, but there is another group that I know from shallower water that have the same general growth form, and they're a lot smaller than anthomastus. That's why I guessed it. I see that Tina Molosova is in the event log, so if that's an anthomastus, I would imagine that she would be able to tell us.
All right. Come on in.
Partial.
That was very good
It's a
piloting.
very small fish above and to the left of
Come
that
on out,
coral.
Roland.
So Tina says that it's something like Elithrobia.
All right. Come on in.
Oh, and some of the
I just tried Googling that, and it's not in Google.
Uh-oh.
I think he means Eleutherophobia. She's missing a U.
Do you have any more? Or is that it?
That's maximum.
Thank you, pilot. We can move on whenever you'd like to.
All right. Come on out.
Did you see the small fish? To the left of that coral top of the screen.
I don't see the small fish.
It's in the just
Come on in.
top of the screen, top edge.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Come on in.
Max soon.
Oh wow, what kind of fish is that? Can we zoom in any further?
That's all I got.
Oh, that's all we got?
This
We'll
is
look
a-
from here.
This is a very little guy.
Anyone want to weigh in on this fish?
You have time to move closer.
If it's not a bad fish or a robin fish, I don't know.
It's very slender, but it is using
All right,
its
come on
feet,
out, Roland.
or its fins as feet.
Pinguipidid? Trying to stretch my boundaries and actually pronounce these words.
Come back in. Where'd he go?
Straight below your laser, right beam.
Come on in.
Max soon.
That is so cool. He's like standing at attention. He looks very watchful.
Definitely.
All right, when you're happy, Roland.
Full line.
All right, come on out.
I believe I'm stopped, so
Yep. Yeah, we're in position. So when you guys are ready, I'll call one in.
I'm good.
Good.
I don't think this is looking really promising for rock samples, to be honest.
Bridge, RV nav.
Come on in.
Oh, fish. Can we zoom in on that?
We'd like another ship move, 30
Is that
meters.
friend again?
I feel like
bearing
we've seen this one
245
multiple times.
degrees,
I
0
like
decimal
this
2
guy.
knots.
It's definitely a different one, but same species.
Good copy.
All right, let's let him go.
Pilot, this is watch lead.
Thank you, Bridge.
Go ahead.
Are you sure that rock's not too big?
This rock.
Just kidding.
I think there's a small fish darting in and out from under that rock that I'm not sure I
Come on in.
recognize.
Check it out.
Oh, yeah, I think that's that same thing we've been seeing.
Any more, Roland?
Yep.
Yep, same thing.
That material on the top of the rock isn't. See that on the lower left of the
See what on the lower left?
top rock right now? That white stuff, that's different. But not getting any science discussion on it, so.
All right, coming out.
Those pink corals, top left, something different with a crinoid on it? Or is that similar? It's a yellow fish, orange fish.
Come in on the fish, please.
Yeah, I think this is another one of those Scorpionate fish.
Come out a little bit.
Pulling out a little. Partial.
Come out a little more. Go ahead.
Ooh, what are all these? Okay, so there's some more camatulid crinoids here, sitting on top of what look like. Is that the most zoom we have video?
That is max zoom.
Well, this is a thing that we were debating that we think could be a primnoid in the genus Phanelia, but I think the jury's still out on it.
I'm catching up to you.
Ship's in position.
So shore-based science team, we have about just under an hour left in this dive. We'll be coming up at 4 o'clock. Does a science call 5 minutes after we pull. Sound good?
Max zoom.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
Works for me.
Awesome. Chris, do we have waypoints for our next dive? Does Lindsay is really the
I
question.
can't bring out any more detail on this one.
Not quite yet. So I had two possible sites. Does the captain prefer to stay south or north of Esmeralda?
I don't know. I can find out. Or you can just email Lindsay directly and work out waypoints with her, whatever works best for you.
Okay, I guess I better do that pretty soon, shouldn't I?
Yeah. If you don't mind, that would be good.
Is that a shell on the right edge of the screen, bottom corner? Just went off the bottom center.
And for those of you who have been following this leg of the expedition, we've seen a whole lot of things. We've been in a bunch of diverse places. We've been down in the trench. We've been on the back arc. We've been on a bunch of these banks. We've been out with the Cretaceous seamounts. Tomorrow, we will be diving at Esmeralda Bank. And we'll be doing a dive that is similar to this one in terms of looking for fisheries and precious corals. And then the next day, we'll be staying at Esmeralda Bank and we'll be diving in the crater. So it should be very, very interesting
There's a little squat lobster.
if we have waypoints.
It's out. Let me zoom back in.
Hold on.
And for those of you following along, we're actually in the last hour of our dive today. We are at Farion de Mendeniza, otherwise known as FDM, which is what we've been calling it, because most of us can't pronounce it, unfortunately. And we basically started at a depth of around 500 meters. We came all the way up to about 250 meters, and we've been just moving along the contour around 250 to 260 meters for the last several hours. And we've seen all sorts of great fish. We've seen some really interesting corals, especially soft corals that we hadn't seen before on this expedition. And it's been really, really interesting.
Sorry, I got a boogie.
Thank you.
Been looking for a rock, Deb. I haven't seen anything.
I know. I have a feeling that we had been in an area with good rocks a little bit earlier, but I'm not seeing them now. Such is life.
Everything looks sedimentary.
And Chris, if you wouldn't mind checking your email for a note from Lindsay, that would be great.
Potential rock candidate bottom left.
Does this look interesting, Deb? This guy in the middle.
Let me ask. Hey, geologists that are on the line, do you see this rock that the lasers are on right now?
I don't know if it's loose enough, but
If it's loose, do we want to try to pick it up?
doesn't look deep loose.
Whoa, extreme close-up.
Yes.
Little crab on it. Little
The
shell.
geologists never say no. Oh, is that a gastropod shell on it?
It's crab.
Left-hand side? Top?
No. Well, so it's a gastropod shell, but it has a pagurid hermit crab living in it.
But I just said gastropod shell.
Hydraulics eye.
All right, so
There's also a lot of stuff
Hydraulics are up.
living on it.
if it's not in place, it would be great to try to pick up.
Get a little tilt up to look at that thing on it.
Is that a different hermit crab? What is that one?
Yes, it really could.
Hey, come on out, Roland.
If we're able to pick this up, Diva's going to be super excited because there's so many commensals on this. There's going to be so much to look at. I'm not sure it wants to come with us.
Don't force it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's in place, isn't it? Or at least stuck in there well. Yep. All right, we tried. We'll look for another one eventually.
okay.
Definitely a lot more stuck. than
Thank
they
you, Josh.
look.
Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome.
All right, so we were not able to collect that rock because it actually is,
Attach to the seafloor.
it's either in place or it's just cemented in place. So,
All right.
but think of all those awesome commensals you would have seen.
I know.
I know you like hermit crabs.
Mm-hmm.
Hydraulics secured.
Thank you. Moving on. I'll keep my arm ready just in case we see something. I can poke it quickly.
Well, he needs the break
Awesome,
from
thank
running
you.
his fingers from driving the ROV, so.
That's the real motivation. Oh, that one looks loose. Let's try that one.
Yeah, the
That
fish
one
just
too.
went under.
Guys ready for
Little
another
fish.
move?
Yep, I'm ready.
Was that a fish?
It's a little tiny
It
fish.
is a little
Lots of
fish.
Come on in.
Oh, two little fish. both going in opposite directions.
Bridge RV now.
Little tiny purple fish.
Ready for another move. 30 meters, bearing 240 degrees,
Stay out.
0.2 knots.
Did anybody catch a glimpse of those fish before they wandered off?
Good copy. Take a bridge.
Grandma to notice?
Fish distance. Go for it.
Well, you
Alright, coming out.
had to come down a little bit for you. Yanked my tether.
Alright, where am I here?
You yanked my way off
yanked
heading.
you.
I'm coming down to get a little more tether.
Alright. So what's our heading right now?
240.
4-0. So we're sort of going downhill a little bit.
Yeah, I'm calling in ship moves parallel to these contour lines, but what actually might be a little bit different.
Alright, coming back down.
Yeah, I think we caught a big heave and it
So there was a
smashed me around.
suggestion that those little purple fish were Grandma to notice?
I like shot way out there, so that was part of it too.
But when you Google them, these look like they were all purple. However, I am not an expert in fish, so I should really just let the experts in fish tell us what these things are.
Go for it, Roland.
That's the guy that's been hiding all day. This guy has a very small hiding spot.
It's not a very good hide and seek. Just sort of buries his head.
Yeah, it's kind of got the ostrich thing going on.
Like, if I can't see you, you can't see me.
I think this fish needs a bigger hole to hide in.
He's got huge eyes, though.
They are called big eyes for a reason.
I think this is the third one we've seen of this, and the other one was trying to get himself into or herself into a hole that was way too small for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening here.
They're sort of like an
Wow.
ostrich. Stick your head in the sand.
Aw.
Stick your head in a boulder.
Alright. Let's leave that guy. Harassed him enough. Bring up hydraulics. Come in partial on this guy. That looks like, doesn't look like a rock at all.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you can bring down hydraulics. False alarm. Alright. Do a quick zoom in here.
All the little algae stuck in corners and waving is just obnoxious. I keep thinking it's something alive.
Did you just call the algae obnoxious?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Can you explain for our
Lots
viewers
of
that are
those
following along why
things on
algae
rock.
could be considered
It's
obnoxious?
distracting. Every time I see little
Oh.
waving
And there's
thing, I
more
think
of
it's
these
a fish tail.
tunicates.
So
These guys are much
those
bigger.
tunicates are so weird looking. So we found out today that algae are obnoxious because they distract from looking at the
Okay.
things we'd really like to look at, like corals. I find it hard to believe that these tunicates look like this naturally and that they aren't rolling around in sediment when we're not watching.
Some little barnacles at the bottom left of that tunicate. crab.
Alright, come on out, Roland. I got a boogie. Do a quick zoom on this coral.
I believe we've seen this type of coral before.
Okay. When you're happy, Roland. There's no rush. Alright.
So we're just continuing our
And we pick up
leisurely
the toe on that
transect
one in the
along the
corner
roughly
left that
250
blazes.
meter contour
If it
line
would roll.
around the FDM bank. We've seen an amazing number of fish today. And as Diva has mentioned before, these are much more like reef fish. They're brightly colored. They're really beautiful. In fact, I don't think there's one today that we've seen that we haven't thought was just fantastic and interesting looking. We've seen moray eels. We saw another one of those fish with the modified limbs. We've seen all sorts of things. We've seen many commercially valuable species as well.
Pushing under the soil.
So if you're a fish person, great dive today.
Alright, come on in. Is this rock of interest?
It just moved.
Not sure if it's...
Maybe? Yeah. No, we're picking up a rock so we can characterize the carbonate. Geologist, do you like this rock?
Yes, please.
Bob, have you ever said no to a rock? Probably not.
No,
Yep.
I've never said no to a rock. That's true.
Yeah, so if this is
As long
movable,
as you keep it enough.
as long as it's
Come on out, Roland.
movable and fits in the basket, let's take it.
Hydraulics up?
Yep.
Alright, let's bring port wing in.
Port wing eye. Port wing in. Do I need to come in a little bit more?
Is it all the way in?
I thought it was, but let me try it. No, let me make.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Oh, your tether's vertical again.
Yeah, I think the currents are
dying.
shifting.
Yeah. Or moving.
Well, that rock is definitely not in place.
This is probably crushable, I'm assuming.
I'm sorry?
This is probably pretty soft, I'm guessing.
I would guess this would not be very, I wouldn't try to squeeze it very hard. But if you could,
Alright, tilt up.
yep,
on my,
thank you.
Camera here. Nick, come on in, Roland.
And to think I used to complain about the manganese crust on many of these rock samples. This guy looks like it's actually growing a full beard.
How's that look?
That's great.
Alright, come on out.
All right, so we're grabbing a rock. It's going in the port forward rock box. All right. Thank you so much, pilot.
You're welcome.
And Diva thanks you too, because it looked like there were some good commensals on that one too.
Yes, I can't wait to be in the lab and process that rock later.
I know.
All right,
Right,
clear.
wing going out.
Thank you so much.
Port wing out.
While we're sitting idle and I don't see a lot of current, can we just hop forward and look at that whip coral?
Did you guys see the request from
That
Tina
draw's coming
to
down.
get a zoom before we leave on the quote springy stick?
Hydraulics
On
zero.
the springy stick. Okay, so can we have a zoom on the coral in the background that's curling, please?
Absolutely. Be full wide.
I
Yes.
see, right, yeah, it's the coiled whip, probably another Ellicelid.
And once again, as we get as close into it as possible.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much, pilots. So definitely an octocoral. We've got little polyps here. Tina, can you tell us any more about this?
Well, I think
Towards the base,
we've
I'll,
settled on it's extremely likely that it's in the family Ellicellidae. As you say, it's an octocoral, so related to all these being, except this is a colony that does not branch. It grows at the whip. The Ellicellidae is a family that is relatively common at from deep coral reef depths, so 10, 20 meters going down to the zone that we're in. So they're the top reef sea, which is why we don't often see them. We don't often hear about them when we're at these much
Yes,
deeper
it's
dives,
very
1,000 and meters deeper.
Thought you were a focusing expert, Roland.
I am a focusing expert. I'm just complaining for the guy that has to try to find a perfect focus for stills on this guy. He's going to hate me. It's actually pushed far over itself right now. Look in the HD2 feed.
Alright. Coming up.
Full wide.
Let's get these guys. Lost them.
So there are some very small fish down below, and I should have been looking for these. Maybe these are the Grammys that are going around or something else, but these would be bottom fish cranes. We can get a look at those. They're really small, of course.
We can certainly try. They're small and they're quick. And they don't seem to like us very much.
Go ahead in.
Oh, now I see the yellow on the bottom.
Alright.
Pilots ready for a move?
Let me push out a little bit here.
Okay.
Get myself all twisted up.
Big
Fish.
fish.
Long
Or
distance.
not big fish. Larger fish.
Go for it.
That's the yellow one we've been imaging.
Another Persipomoides zonatus. That must be like our 5th one by now.
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
Something under the
This has really
rock to
been
the
quite
left.
spectacular for
Lasers.
fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
Real purple smooth.
Go ahead in. The
Urchin test.
Yeah, another echinoid test on behind there, broken.
Okay, come on up. You must like the lights.
Two small fish over that ranging coral top right.
Head in. Tight. Let's get this
That's
little
new.
guy. Alright, come on up.
Anybody in a break? You do?
Pilot, ship is stationary. We're all settled out. Probably ready for a move pretty soon.
All right.
After you get settled
Sounds
down.
good. So we're just heading along this slope here.
Yeah, just following the contour, staring at this depth.
Gotcha.
About as shallow as we want to go.
Yeah, you can just carry on whichever direction you were going.
240.
I'm ready.
I'll hang out and look for fish.
Bridge, RV nav. Ready for another ship move.
like
30
I'm pulling you
meters, bearing
back to you.
240 degrees,
Yeah, we just saw
0.2 knots.
Ran out after it.
Okay. Is this about, or that was about your heading? 230?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've generally
Good job.
Fish
angled about
forward.
10 degrees into the slope so I can keep an eye on it.
Gotcha.
Several large fish forward, 10 degrees left.
All right, we'll get there in a minute. Back up to him.
I can come down a touch too.
There we go. I stopped pulling now. Huh?
Yep. Now we're good.
Yeah, that's good.
Could we take a look at that bright yellow thing that's down in the lower left corner?
Absolutely. Pilot, do you think we can get there?
Yeah, I heard that. So coming into center now?
I think so. Or possibly to the left, I'm not sure. Chris, the one that's sort of coming into the center view, or the one that's on the left?
think it's the one.
No, the center view is fine, or the left, very left is also, I think, one of them too, if that's easier, but maybe the one in the center.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I see what he was pointing at.
It's a different kind of fish down below. Lasers.
Okay, video, you want to zoom yellow in center here?
Oh, what is that? Not the
Back
algae.
to it.
Oh, not the
Well, it's
algae?
No.
not what I thought it was.
What's the yellow thing?
A sponge?
It's like spongy.
Spongy goodness. Oh, crab, just below. Pan down, tilt down.
Down to a crab. Video, want to come partial?
Boop, there.
Oh yeah, I see him. Okay, video, you can go in.
Maxim. It's also arching below that.
Oh, and an echinoid, just below.
Yellow thing a sponge or a tunicate?
Yeah, more a tunicate, huh?
It does have that odd color to it.
Something is
Okay.
in HD2, straight down, round sponge circle.
Is that a sea urchin? Or an urchin below it?
So I'll tilt down a little to the urchin.
There's a crab and there's an echinoid
Still
in
next
view
to
right
it.
now,
Yeah.
as well as a tunicate, which, I don't know. I don't know if people came to a decision about that.
I think they think it's a tunicate.
Tunicate, okay.
All
Highlight, can we zoom in on the urchin when you're done?
Yeah, that was maximum. I can hop up there. But is that move underway, guys?
Yep, and I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah.
And you're only 50 degrees right now on the camera, so you got a little time.
Yeah. Okay, you can go in partial video. Try to find them again. That's the crab. Or is that a different crab?
I think it might be a different crab.
Yeah, that guy's in a hole.
So where did that urchin go?
There's the yellow at the top.
Yeah, that was our reference. I guess it's closer to the yellow. Okay, want to go in here?
Not sure where it went.
Yeah.
I think it must be in the visual shadow of that red kind of reddish rock in front of you.
Okay.
Is my guess. I don't know that for sure.
See, you want to go in the shell here? Center screen? Interesting.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
we
time
got
for me
time
to
to
move
go.
on. Sorry, I seem to have lost that urchin amongst the rocks. It's very small. Okay, 230.
240.
240. Moving on.
If we tilt up into the darkness, I might be able to show you fish before we scare them with our lights. Some schooling
What's
on
the
the
rock
right
sample?
and center. Yellow one at the bottom, we've imaged it multiple times.
I see those two.
Pink one looks new.
It's that yellow one we've seen.
So, yeah, I've seen that one several times.
The pink ones are scared away.
Another Perstimoides zonatus right there, just to the left, but I think, yeah. We've seen enough of those today. All this information helping to inform NOAA fisheries.
Resource management in general.
Resource
You can
management.
never see too many bottom fish.
Thanks, Chris.
Just joking. Yeah, we certainly have seen a lot of those.
Okay, you want to do a quick zoom from here?
Ooh, what are those yellow things? Tunicates? Sponges?
I don't know, but they're hanging out, like
You're at the end of the
actively,
leash.
like hanging
Yeah.
over
Down.
this.
Okay. Okay, you can go wide video. I'll
Ship's done on this move. You're pretty
try to
stretched
get
out.
set up.
You want me to call one in?
I'm going to guess
How
sponge.
long ago did the ship end?
Couple minutes.
What did you say?
2
It's
minutes.
been
Yeah.
I'm going to guess yellow elephant trunk.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. We're so shallow.
If those are my two options, I'm going to have to go with sponge.
Yeah, you can
At least
follow
mine
it.
was more descriptive. You have an image in your head, whereas sponge could be a kitchen sponge for all you know.
Bridge, RV nav.
So, for those of you following
We've got
along
the
at
same
home,
move as last time.
please look
30
towards the little
meters,
yellow
240
elephant trunks.
degrees, 0.2
And,
knots.
we still think they're sponges.
Is that from the genus things?
Yeah, that would be from the
In
genus
the family stuff.
Good copy.
Yeah.
Okay, video, you can zoom.
Chris, do we need to explain to you that kitchen sponges are not real sponges? Now that I see them closer, maybe they are elephant
Oh,
trunks.
there's a pagurid right next to it. How wonderful.
So is there anybody anywhere who knows what the heck these things are?
It's possible these are like the Bellinella octocorals that Tina was pointing out earlier. She suggested Bellinella and Eleutherobium. They have a morphology kind of like this when the polyps are retracted. So this would be a state where the polyps are all retracted. This would be a state where the polyps are all retracted. Yeah, I see Asako was suggesting Bellinella or Minabea. So these are probably octocorals. Shows you
I'm
the
sorry,
great
what video?
diversity of morphology that colonial forms can take.
Will do. So, shoreside scientists, what is it you think we're looking at? Are these sponges? Are they corals? Are they something else?
We believe that these are octocorals,
We do think they're octocorals.
possibly the genus Bellinella or Minabea or Eleutherobium. Now all of the polyps are retracted, so you see the little bumps on there. We're
Oh.
suggesting that the polyps would emerge from there with their little feeding tentacles. And the interesting thing about looking at these compared to all these other octocorals that we've been pointing out before is just you can see that there's a tremendous diversity of ways in order to grow into a colonial form. And it all has to do with how you deposit the skeletal material and the sclerites and the tissue around that.
So, Scott, what would these look like when the polyps aren't retracted?
They would essentially have the same shape, except that they would be a lot fuzzier because you wouldn't see the column so much as you would see just this group of polyps with their tentacles facing directly out at you, and they'd almost be touching one another. It'd be kind of like a fuzzy surface, but taking on that same general shape.
Thank you. That was really quite interesting. I honestly don't, I had no idea those would be corals.
Okay, video, you can come wide.
Actually, I just Googled, Minabea, and they show a picture which certainly looks like what Scott and Asako were
How's that?
talking about, and they call them fuzzy carrots.
fuzzy carrot.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, Sonia has also just provided a link in the event log.
Now, I have to admit, the link that is in the event log does look like a fuzzy carrot.
Maybe these are fuzzy turnips.
You know, a fuzzy carrot doesn't really sound that attractive. It usually just means it's been in the refrigerator a bit too long.
True, true.
It is cold down here.
Actually, the temperature is 17.5 degrees C.
Back.
So for those of you following along, we were just taking a look at an interesting coral species with its polyps retracted. And we've got about 15 minutes left, 14 minutes left of our dive. And hopefully we'll find a few more interesting things.
Thank you, Bridge. Ship's in position. You guys look pretty stretched out, almost.